The Buddha said when they asked him, what are you doing when you're meditating? And he said, when I'm meditating, I'm aware of the breath when the breath is exhaling. I'm aware of the breath when the breath is inhaling. See, what he's saying there is I'm experiencing that which is aware of my life. And in that particular moment, that's the way it looks. It's aware of my body breathing. It's aware of the in-breath and the out-breath. And one of the things you want to practice when you're practicing meditation is not just paying attention to the belly moving and the belly breathing, but make it your business to stay there. So I'm going to be aware, I'm going to be attending to the belly moving and the body breathing. And as the body inhales, I am being with the body inhaling. I'm being with the body inhaling. I'm being there the whole time as the body inhales. All the way in, and then all the way out, staying there, staying there, staying there. So this is another aspect of the practice, is not just being aware of the body breathing, but staying there, being there with the body with the body breathing. This is the same thing that, in terms of working with the mental activity, how do we work with the mental activity from an awake state? How do we deal with the mind from an awake state, right? We don't, what the personality will come up with about that is, we have to control it, we have to change it, we have to make it obey, we have to do something with it, right? That won't go anywhere. Right? The only thing you have to do, right, to deal with the mind is be with it. Period. Just be with it. Because when you're being with it, the awareness that you are has the discernment to see what's going on. Do you get that? The awareness that you are sees things as they are. The awareness that you are has the discernment to see what's going on. So if you're being with the mind as awareness, you will begin to see how crazy the mind is. When you're in the mind and you're identified with the mind, you can't see that. You'll be an asshole and then justify yourself. Won't you? Don't you? Yeah, you'll act out, you'll do something stupid, you'll raise your voice and argue with people and get into conflict, which never goes anywhere, and then you'll explain that, or you'll justify that, to somehow make it acceptable, right? That's the life of the personality. It doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't get any better. So if you want to start to experience something other than that, then you have to develop your ability to stay awake so that you can see what the mind's doing, and when it goes off the rails, you don't go with it. You stay as the awareness of it going off the rails, but you're not going. You're staying as the awareness. This means that I won't use my mouth to start any trouble. That can be very valuable if you're married. It can save you a lot of money. But it can be very valuable even if you're not married, because you have to deal with your relationship with the rest of these fools, don't you? And so in order to do that, the only way you're going to be successful in dealing with the rest of humanity is to have compassion for yourself first. Have compassion for your tendency to be stupid first. Then you can have it for other people, right? If you can't accept your own stupidity, you have no tolerance for other people. But if you can accept your own stupidity, you realize that that stupidity is coming from a very limited, constrained identity that's not who you really are, but it's who you have taken yourself to be, and it plays in your mind. It uses the voice in your head to direct your life. It uses the voice in your head to tell you what's going on, doesn't it? Yeah, it interprets reality for you, like you need an interpreter, right? When you wake up, you discover you don't need an interpreter for reality. You can see it for yourself. You can be there and see it as it is instead of listening to the interpretation of it, because the interpretation of it is twisted. The interpretation of it is twisted. The interpretation of it, if you start paying attention to the activity of your mind, you can really relieve yourself of a lot of negative feelings and pressure and negative judgments about yourself. Because if you start to really pay attention to your mind, you'll start to witness how it's relentless. It judges and evaluates everything and everybody all the time. It's relentless, and its standards are very high. Even you don't meet them, right? You don't meet your own mind standards. That's why it's telling you what a failure you are when you don't, meet those standards. So first, you got to get that working. Right? If you're unworkable, how are you going to work? How are you going to have a workable relationship with other people if you're unworkable? You have to have a workable experience with yourself. You have to have a workable relationship with your body. You have to have a workable relationship with your mind. And the only way you're going to have a workable relationship with your mind is if you're aware of it and you're not being it. And what I mean by that is you stop talking like a mind talks. See, the way the mind talks is it talks about how it feels, what it wants, what it likes, what it doesn't like, what it thinks is right or wrong, and whoever doesn't think that's right or wrong is not your friend. Right? So the mind is constantly generating this process all day long about you, about life, about other people, about the past, and about the future. And if you're living in that world, it's an unpleasant experience, haven't you noticed? If you're living in that world, the one thing that you have that every day that you wake up for is relief, right? You wake up in the morning looking forward to what? The end of the day. You start the week looking forward to what? The end of the week, And the whole year is punctuated with look forward tos, isn't it? We had to look forward to with the Super Bowl, right? I was talking to one of the staff here today and I said, well, that's over now what? What do you mean now? Well, what are you looking forward to now? Oh, I don't know. I have to think about it. But I have to look forward to something because this isn't acceptable. If I can look forward to something, let's see, what can I look forward to? What's coming up? Something must be coming up. What are they advertising on TV? Oh, the Oscars. I can look forward to the Oscars. I can start watching the movies that are going to be nominated. That'll be something to be interested in. That'll be exciting. You see how the mind is producing a look forward to life. Why is it producing a look forward to life or a look backward life, isn't it? You're either remembering what did happen or thinking about what will happen. Why does the mind do that? Why is it doing that? Does anybody know?
The Phillies.
Look forward to the Phillies, yeah.
That's not the answer to the question.
It's unhappy.
Why is the mind doing that? Why is the mind preoccupied with the past and the future all the time?
It doesn't like the present moment.
Why?
Because
We're in it. Because we're in it.
Hmm?
Is it because we're in the present moment?
No, you're not.
I thought we were in the present.
The mind can never.
Well, you are, so now let me clarify that. You are in the present moment, but you don't know it.
The mind can't be in the present.
Exactly. Very good, Bob. The mind can't be in the present moment. Why?
Because it's thinking about the past and the future?
You're not sure what's going to happen.
Wasn't
So
programmed.
why don't you?
No, the mind can't be in the present moment. Why can't the mind be in the present moment?
Because it's not real. Because it keeps playing the same tapes over and over.
Yeah, who said it's not real? Yeah, that's close, that's warm. The reason the mind can't be in the present moment is because its job is to produce the personality, isn't it? Its job is to generate the illusion that the personality is real, and it's not real, right? So what's it going to use to do that? Oh, I remember when, you see how I'm proving I was real? Oh, I remember when I did that. And then you have a memory of something that happened in the past, and if you look at that image in the memory of what happened in the past, what do you see yourself as? If I ask you to remember something in the past and you remember it, what are you looking at? What are you seeing?
Some bad person?
A vision.
No, no matter what it is, it may be bad because a lot of people have, that's the go-to for them. But what you're going to see if you look at the images of your past is you're going to see your body, aren't you? Yeah, that's one of the ways that you identify yourself as a body. When you think of yourself in the past or the future, if you look at that image in your mind, you're looking at a body. So that's evidence that you take yourself to be the body, right? But the reason that the present moment doesn't work, right, is because it can't be used to produce the illusion that the personality is real. See, the personality has to do magic tricks all the time because it doesn't exist, right? It has to do something to make itself real, right? So if it identifies with the body, it can say, well, I'm real, look at me. See, I'm real. If it identifies with the body, it's not the body. It's using that as a way of manifesting its existence. Personality works all day long to manifest its existence. It does it through the thought process. Who's thinking? Who do most people think the voice in their head is?
Himself.
Yeah, when it's not. But it will portray you. It will act as if it is you because it's got to generate the illusion that you're real. You see what I'm saying? So when you practice meditation and when you study these teachings, you are studying a teaching that will allow you to deconstruct something that was never actually real. And as it gets deconstructed and you stop depending on it, right? You stop depending on the thinking process because that's what it's using, right? You stop depending on that, right? And you're moving your attention away from that during the practice of meditation. And then if you start doing the informal practice of meditation, you're resting as awareness for brief moments as often as possible. So every time you do that during the day, you're moving your attention away from the illusion and experiencing the reality. You're moving your attention away from a thought activity that's producing an illusion to the reality of your existence, which is awareness itself. And if you persist in this over time, informally and formally, right, what will happen is the need to identify yourself as the body and the personality starts to become lessened. You start to have less of a need to depend on that because you start to discover the difference it makes to be what you are. You start to discover what it's like to experience your life in a relaxed, calm way, right, in which you're not trying to be happy because you already are. You're not trying to get satisfied because you already are, right? And what happens when that's the case is your life becomes different in the sense that since I don't need anything now, because the reality of what you are as the awareness doesn't need anything. It doesn't want anything, it doesn't need anything. It's satisfied all the time, no matter what. It's satisfied all the time. Now this may not make sense to you if you're not familiar with it, right? But as you continue to practice meditation and you start to have the experience of the truth, you start to have the experience of your true nature, you'll see that that's true. It's always satisfied, it's always tranquil, it's always happy. And if that experience becomes the experience that's consistent, that you're having consistently in time, then your life is no longer about you. Your life is no longer about you. So you start out this process wanting to be enlightened, wanting to get what this makes available as a personality. So it's about you, isn't it? Yeah, you want it for about you. But then when you wake up and you experience your true nature, you discover that that was a mistake. You didn't need anything from the beginning. You were already home and you thought you weren't. Right? You thought you had to get somewhere, but you discovered you were where you were already at where you thought you had to get. And so when that's the case, if you're fulfilled, is your life going to be about you anymore? No. Why? Because you don't need anything anymore. So you naturally start to look at the world differently, and you naturally start to look at the world in terms of what can I contribute? What difference can I make? What can I do for you? And then you're discovering true love. When you discover that, you're discovering the way to be in the world that allows you to experience love, right? The way to be in the world that allows you to experience. You're not free to do that if you're still consumed with the idea that it's all about you, right? That's the programming. That's the conditioning. But if you wake up, when you wake up, you realize, I don't need that anymore. I don't need to be worried about myself. I don't need to be concerned about whether I'm happy or not. I don't need to be concerned about whether I'm satisfied or not. I come from satisfaction. That's the ground of my being, is satisfaction. And so now when I look at the world, I'm not looking at it in terms of what can it give me or what can it do for me, but now I'm looking at what can I give it? What can I do for it now? And I understand now in a very direct way that that's what love is. That's what love is. All you have to do is look at the idea that when you're giving, isn't that this time when you feel the most love? Yeah. So you know, even if you haven't totally woken up yet, right, so that it's natural for you to be that way, you can practice it. You know, you can practice being the way you really are. That'll lend itself to being the way you really are. It'll make it easier to be the way you really are if you practice being that way, no matter what your mind's telling you. Because your mind will continue to tell you, don't take chances, don't be too vulnerable, you know how people are, they're gonna mess with you, right? So as long as you're listening to that conversation, you're not free to love anybody. You're not free to love anybody. You may experience falling in love, but that's a virus. And if you fall in love, that's a temporary virus that will determine that you're seeing things in a very altered way. And you'll see somebody that you fall in love with, and they're beautiful, and they're sexy, and they're hot, and they're funny, and they're all this wonderful stuff. You can't believe that you found somebody that has all that stuff going for him, right? And then you're committed. Oh, I'll do anything to get with this person. I'll do anything. I'll marry them so I can make sure I keep them, right? And then you wait, and then the virus, wears off. You say, "What the hell did I?"
What was I thinking?
Yeah, but it's like my Zen teacher says, right? If the person you're sharing your life with is the person that you woke up and realized is the last person you really want to be with, it's a perfect relationship. Perfect relationship. Because now they're going to serve you in terms of stimulating everything in your mind that's going to drive you crazy. And you're either going to blame them or wake up and realize that you're doing it to yourself. That's what a marriage can do. It can provide you with an opportunity to wake up and realize you're responsible for your own mind instead of considering your partner to be the one that's destroying your mind and your life. All right, any other questions?